The council chamber floated high above Thyler Prime, a massive station where representatives from 40 species gathered to decide the fate of civilizations. Today, the chamber buzzed with fear and anger. Arbiter Celine stood at the center podium, her blue skin pale with stress. On the holographic display behind her, entire cities burned. The Vela colonies were dying, and everyone in the chamber knew it. 3 worlds had already gone silent. 2 more would fall within days. The Krath Dominion has violated every treaty we hold sacred, Celine said, her voice steady despite the trembling in her hands. They are committing genocide. We must act. Ambassador Thrall, a massive creature covered in protective scales, shook his head. The Krath have 200 warships in that sector. We would need to commit our entire defense fleet, and even then victory is not certain. My people will not sacrifice themselves for this. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Celine felt her heart sink. She had expected this, but the reality still hurt. Dr. Mirren, a Vela scientist, stepped forward from the observer section. Her people were small, barely reaching a meter in height, with soft gray fur and large eyes that now glistened with tears. Please, she whispered. My family is on Vela Prime, my children. The Krath are burning everything. They are killing everyone. Please help us. The chamber fell silent. Several ambassadors looked away. They felt shame, but not enough to act. Councillor Vex's message had been clear when he sent it 3 days ago. The Krath believed the Vela had resources that belonged to them. Anyone who interfered would face the same fate. The Krath had never made empty threats. Celine made a decision that would change the galaxy forever. She pulled up a restricted file on her personal console and projected it above the chamber. A star map appeared, showing a small region of space marked with red warning symbols. There is one option we have not considered, she said quietly. No, Ambassador Thrall said immediately. Absolutely not. You cannot be serious, another voice called out. Celine continued anyway. Sector 347, the restricted zone. The human quarantine, the chamber erupted. Voices shouted over each other. Some species called Celine insane. Others simply looked terrified. They are Deathworlders, someone screamed. Monsters from a nightmare planet. Celine raised her voice. They are the only ones who might help. You saw the reports from First Contact, Thrall growled. Their world has gravity twice what most of us can survive. Their oceans have storms that could destroy cities. Their predators hunt in packs and kill for sport. The diseases on their planet would wipe out entire populations. And the humans themselves evolved as apex predators. They have forward-facing eyes, they eat meat, and their whole civilization is built on warfare. I read the reports, Celine said. I also read that they showed curiosity and attempted peaceful communication. We were the ones who rejected them. We labeled their world as Class 12 Deathworld and told them to stay away. They respected our wishes and returned to their space. Because they knew we feared them, another ambassador said. They knew we saw them as dangerous. Dr. Mirren spoke again, her voice stronger now. Are they more dangerous than watching my species die? The Krath are monsters who kill with purpose and joy. If these humans are monsters too, at least they might fight the ones murdering us. The debate continued for hours. Most of the council opposed the idea, but Celine had spent days building a small coalition of desperate voices. Species who had colonies near Krath space. Species who knew they might be next. Finally, by the slimmest margin, the vote passed. The council would send a distress signal to Sector 347, to Earth, to the humans. Celine personally crafted the message. She made it simple and direct. The Vela people were being destroyed. The Galactic Council could not stop it. They were requesting aid from anyone willing to help. She included the coordinates, the tactical situation, and everything they knew about the Krath fleet. Then she added one more line, something that was not approved by the council, a personal note. We are sorry for how we treated you before. We were wrong to fear you without knowing you. If you can help us, please come. If you cannot, we understand. We had no right to ask. The message was compressed and sent through the deep space relay network toward the Forbidden Zone. The signal would take 3 days to reach Earth, traveling faster than light through the quantum communication network. If the humans were listening. If they cared, most of the council believed nothing would happen. The humans had been silent for 50 years. Why would they suddenly care about aliens who had rejected them? Celine watched the confirmation that the message had been sent. She felt tired and old. In 3 days they would know if humanity would respond. In 3 days the last Vela colony would be under direct assault. Dr. Mirren approached her after the session ended. "Thank you," the small scientist said. "Even if they do not come, thank you for trying." "I hope I have not doomed us all," Celine admitted. "If the humans do come, they may be as dangerous as the Krath. We are gambling everything on species we do not understand." "The Krath we understand perfectly," Mirren replied. "They want us dead. At least with the humans there is hope." Far away in Vela space, Commander Vex watched another city burn from orbit. His Krath warriors had been efficient today. The small gray creatures below had tried to fight back with their civilian defense weapons, but it was pathetic. By tomorrow this world would be empty, another trophy for the Dominion. He had heard rumors that the Council might do something desperate. Let them, the Krath fleet was invincible. Nothing in the galaxy could stop them. Commander Vex had never heard of humans. He had never seen a death world. He could not imagine what was coming. 3 days. That was all the time the galaxy had to prepare for humanity's answer. The message arrived at Mars Orbital Station at 347 hours, Earth Standard Time. The quantum communication array had been monitoring the old first contact frequencies for 50 years, more out of habit than hope. When the signal came through, the night shift officer almost fell out of his chair. Admiral Sarah Chen was pulled from sleep an hour later. She arrived at the command center still buttoning her uniform jacket. The room was already full of officers, all staring at the holographic display showing the translated message. "They actually contacted us," someone whispered. After 50 years of silence, they finally sent a message. Chen read the distress signal 3 times. A species called the Vela was being destroyed. The Galactic Council was asking for help. No, she corrected herself, reading the personal note at the end. One member of the Council was asking for help. One voice calling out to the monsters they had rejected decades ago. "Get me the Security Council," Chen ordered. "Wake up, everyone. I want full military command online in 30 minutes. Within the hour, the most powerful leaders of United Earth Space Command were on the conference call. The debate started immediately. "This could be a trap," General Park said from Earth. "They made it clear we were not welcome in their galaxy. Why would they suddenly need us?" "Because they are desperate," replied Admiral Okafor from the Luna shipyards. "You do not ask the people you fear unless you have no other choice." Chen listened to the arguments fly back and forth. 50 years ago, humanity had reached the stars with hope and excitement. They had found a galaxy full of life and reached out with friendship. The response had been horror and rejection. The other species had examined Earth and declared it a Class 12 death world. Too dangerous, too deadly, and humans, who evolved there, were classified as unpredictable and potentially violent. The Galactic Council had politely but firmly suggested that humanity remain in their own space. For everyone's safety, it had hurt. Humanity had returned home, nursed their wounds, and focused on building up their own civilization. They had colonies on Mars, Europa, and Titan now, mining operations throughout the asteroid belt, a fleet of warships that had never seen real combat. All of it built in isolation while the galaxy went on without them. "Sir," Captain Marcus Webb said during a brief pause in the debate. Webb commanded the UESC Indomitable, the largest ship in the fleet. "Permission to speak freely?" "Granted," Chen said. "We have spent 50 years asking ourselves why the galaxy rejected us. Maybe this is our answer. Maybe they do not need us when everything is safe and comfortable. But when people are dying, when innocent families need protection, suddenly it does not matter that we come from a death world. They need what our world made us." Webb paused. "We can show them who we really are. Not monsters, protectors." The room fell silent. Chen felt something shift in her chest. Webb was right. This was humanity's chance. "We also have a tactical advantage they cannot imagine," said Commander Zhao, the fleet's strategic officer. "They do not know how we fight. Their files on us are 50 years old and based on peaceful exploration ships. They have no idea what our military can actually do." Chen pulled up the tactical data on the Krath fleet. 200 warships. The Galactic Council's own intelligence estimated that it would take 300 ships to match them. Earth's entire fleet numbered only 75 vessels, but those 75 ships were designed by humans, built by a species that had known warfare since they learned to sharpen sticks. Every human ship carried weapons that would horrify the peaceful galaxy. Railguns firing solid metal at a fraction of light speed, Zhao explained. Nuclear warheads. Kinetic kill missiles. Close combat boarding tactics. The galaxy has been at peace for so long that their warfare is basically ritualized. They do not know what total war looks like. Are we sure we want to teach them? Someone asked quietly. Chen made her decision. We are going. I want the fleet ready to jump in 72 hours. 47 ships, our best crews, full combat loadout. Admiral, the politicians will need to approve this, General Park warned. Then I suggest you wake them up and get their approval, Chen said firmly, because in 72 hours, with or without official permission, I am taking my fleet to Vela space. Those people asked for help. Earth answers. The next 3 days were chaos. The politicians did approve barely, some out of compassion, others because they saw an opportunity to finally prove Earth's worth to the galaxy. Ships were loaded with weapons and supplies. Crews said goodbye to families, knowing they might not return. Lieutenant Zara Okonkwo climbed into her fighter cockpit with her squadron. She was 26 years old, third generation off-Earth, and had trained her whole life for combat that never came. Now it was real. Nervous? Her wingman asked over the radio. Terrified, Zara admitted, but also excited. We finally get to show them what we can do. On the Indomitable, Captain Webb walked through the ship talking to his crew. Marines checked their weapons and armor. Engineers ran final tests on the reactor. Medical teams prepared for casualties. Everyone knew the odds. 47 ships against 200. But no one suggested turning back. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of her flagship, the UESC Valiant, and looked at the fleet assembled around her. Destroyers, cruisers, carriers with their fighter wings, the product of 50 years of humanity building its military in isolation. No one in the galaxy knew what was coming. She opened a channel to the entire fleet. In a few minutes, we jump to Vela space. We are going to fight against a force that outnumbers us. We are going to face an empire that has terrorized the galaxy for centuries. And we are going to win. Not because we are stronger, not because we have better technology, but because we are human. Our world tried to kill us every single day and we survived. We learned to work together, to fight together, to never give up. That is what Earth made us. The galaxy fears us, let them. But let them also see that Earth's children protect the innocent. We are going to save the Vela people, and we are going to teach the Krath Dominion why you do not mess with Deathworlders. The fleet cheered. Chen gave the order. 47 ships engaged their faster-than-light drives and disappeared from Sol space, heading toward a battle that would change the galaxy forever. 3 days after the distress signal was sent, Arbiter Celine was in her office when her console beeped. An emergency message from the Deep Space Monitoring Network. Her hands shook as she opened it. Multiple massive subspace ruptures detected at the edge of Vela space. Unknown ships. 47 of them they had come. The humans had actually come. Celine did not know whether to feel hope or terror. Probably both. Commander Vex received the same alert on his flagship. Unknown vessels entering the system. He smiled. Perfect. The Vela had called for help and someone had been foolish enough to answer. He would destroy this rescue fleet and then finish burning the Vela worlds. It would send a perfect message to the galaxy. Stay out of Krath business or join the Vela in extinction. The human fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel in a formation that made no sense to anyone watching. Instead of arriving in a tight defensive cluster like every military doctrine in the galaxy recommended, the ships spread out across thousands of kilometers. They came in at different angles, different speeds, scattered like seeds thrown by the wind. Commander Vex watched from his flagship, the Crimson Fang, and laughed. What kind of amateur fleet formation is this? They are completely disorganized. His tactical officer was not so sure. Commander, I'm reading 47 vessels. They are significantly smaller than our dreadnoughts, but their energy signatures are strange. I have never seen reactor outputs like this. Small ships, Vex said dismissively. Probably a coalition of frightened council species trying to look brave. This will be over quickly. He opened a communication channel. Standard procedure was to allow the enemy to surrender before destroying them. It made the Krath look civilized, even if everyone knew surrender just meant slavery instead of death. On the UESC Valiant, Admiral Chen received the incoming hail. Captain Webb, you are listening to this? Yes, Admiral, Webb replied from the Indomitable. Let me take this one, Chen nodded. Webb had a gift for communication, and for knowing exactly what to say before a fight started. The hologram of Commander Vex appeared. He was massive, easily 2.5 meters tall with thick armor-like skin and a mouthful of sharp teeth. He looked at the human officers on his screen with confusion, They were small, fragile-looking. Their ship interiors were bright and clean, not the dark war vessels he expected. "I am Commander Vex of the Krath Dominion," he announced. "You have entered a restricted combat zone. You will surrender your vessels immediately or be destroyed. These are your only options." Captain Webb leaned forward. He was a tall man by human standards, with dark skin and calm eyes. When he spoke, his voice was steady. "Commander Vex, I am Captain Marcus Webb of the United Earth Space Command. The Vela people asked for our help. We are here to provide it. You are the one with options. Leave this system now. Return to Krath space and face no consequences. Or stay and learn why Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world." Vex stared at the screen. These were humans? The Deathworlder species? They looked harmless. "You are making a mistake, human. I have 200 warships. You have 47 tiny vessels. Do you understand mathematics?" "We understand math just fine," Webb said. "But you do not understand humans. This is your only warning. Leave now." Vex cut the communication and laughed again. "Deathworlders. They think because they come from a dangerous planet that makes them warriors. Prepare all weapons. We will show them what real military power looks like." The Krath fleet moved into their standard battle formation, a massive wall of ships advancing together, shields overlapping, weapons charged. It was beautiful, unstoppable. They had used this formation to conquer 20 systems. Then the humans attacked, and nothing made sense anymore. The human ships did not advance in a line. They moved in 3 dimensions, using the full depth of space in ways the Krath had never seen. Some ships dove below the Krath formation, others arced high above. A squadron of smaller vessels came in fast from the side, moving at speeds that seemed impossible. "They are pulling over 8 gravities acceleration," the Krath tactical officer shouted. That would kill any crew. But humans came from a high-gravity world. 8 gravities was uncomfortable but survivable. The fighter pilots, like Lieutenant Zara Okonkwo, had trained their whole lives for this. She led her squadron in a diving attack run, her fingers dancing across the controls as her fighter pulled maneuvers that would rip apart ships designed for normal species. The Krath tried to track the human fighters with their weapons, but the targeting computers could not keep up. The fighters moved like nothing in their database, rolling, spinning, changing direction in ways that seemed to violate physics. Then the human capital ships opened fire, and the Krath learned about human weapons. Railguns sent solid metal slugs downrange at incredible velocity. The Krath shields were designed to disperse energy weapons, but they had no defense against physical projectiles moving at a significant fraction of light speed. The first Krath cruiser took 3 railgun hits and simply exploded, torn apart by the kinetic energy. "Impossible," Vex screamed. "Who uses solid projectiles in space combat?" "Humans," his tactical officer said, fear creeping into his voice. The nuclear missiles came next. The Krath sensors detected them launching and classified them immediately. "Commander, those are atomic fission weapons. The Council banned those 3,000 years ago. They are considered barbaric." "I do not care what the Council banned," Vex roared. "Shoot them down!" The Krath point defense systems managed to destroy most of the missiles. But not all. 3 nuclear warheads detonated in the middle of the Krath formation. In space, there was no air to create the familiar mushroom cloud. Instead, there was just pure energy. Electromagnetic radiation. Ships close to the blast had their electronics fried. Others were damaged by debris traveling at extreme speeds. Captain Webb watched from the Indomitable as his tactical plan unfolded. The Krath fought like they expected enemies to fight. Predictable formations. Energy weapons at medium range. Defensive tactics designed for civilized warfare. Humans did not fight civilized wars. They fought to win. "Marines, prepare for boarding action," Webb ordered. The Indomitable carried 200 combat Marines in powered armor. They were about to introduce the galaxy to another human specialty, taking enemy ships by force. The Indomitable closed with a Krath battleship, moving in close where the big ship's weapons could not track effectively. Magnetic clamps locked onto the hull. Breaching charges blew holes through the armor, and the Marines went in. The Krath crew inside had never faced anything like it. The human Marines moved through their ship like nightmares, weapons firing, armor-absorbing hits that would kill unprotected soldiers. The Krath were big and strong, but the Marines worked in teams covering each other, using tactics developed over thousands of years of human warfare. Within 20 minutes, the battleship was captured, The Krath crew was secured. The ship's weapons turned against its former allies. Across the battlefield, the same scene played out again and again. Human ships were smaller but faster. Human weapons were crude but devastating. Human tactics were unpredictable and aggressive. The Krath fleet, which had seemed invincible, was being torn apart. Lieutenant Okonkwo's fighter squadron engaged Krath interceptors. The enemy pilots were good, but they fought like they were trained in a simulator. Clean, efficient, predictable. Zara fought like she had something to prove. Because she did. Her whole life, people had wondered if humans were really as dangerous as their world suggested. Now she was showing the galaxy the answer. Her fighters' guns tore through 2 Krath interceptors. A third tried to get on her tail, but she pulled a maneuver her instructor had called suicidal, killing her forward velocity, letting the enemy overshoot, then lighting her engines again and getting behind him instead. The Krath pilot never saw it coming. 6 hours into the battle, Commander Vex looked at his tactical display and could not believe what he was seeing. His fleet of 200 ships had been reduced to barely 100. The humans had lost only 4 vessels. 4. Retreat, he finally ordered. All ships jump to backup coordinates, now! The remaining Krath ships disengaged and fled into faster-than-light travel. The battle was over. On the Indomitable, Captain Webb allowed himself a small smile. Casualty report. 43 dead across the fleet, his first officer reported. 127 wounded. 4 ships lost, 7 more requiring extensive repairs. Webb felt the weight of those numbers. 43 people who had families, lives, dreams, but they had also saved millions of Vela civilians. He would mourn later. Right now he had a job to finish. Admiral Chen, he called. Vela Prime is secure. We are moving to protect the other colony worlds. Acknowledged, Chen replied. Captain, we are getting multiple communication requests from the Galactic Council. They want to talk. Tell them we are busy, Webb said. We have people to save. They can wait. Across the galaxy, on 1,000 different worlds, beings watched the battle footage. The grainy sensor recordings and the few direct video feeds showed the same thing. Humans fighting with a ferocity and skill that seemed impossible. The galaxy had called them Deathworlders as an insult. Now they understood what the term really meant. These were not monsters. They were warriors forged in the deadliest crucible nature could create, and they had just announced their presence to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible. In the council chambers, Arbiter Celine watched the footage with mixed feelings. Relief that the Vela were being saved, but also fear, because she had seen what happened when humans fought without holding back. The galaxy was about to learn a hard truth. Sometimes you need monsters to fight monsters, and Earth had sent its best. The footage spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Every species with access to communication networks saw it. The battle at Vela Prime. The human fleet arriving and destroying a Krath armada that should have been unstoppable. But it was not the victory that terrified the galaxy. It was how the humans won. In the council chamber, Ambassador Thrall watched the recordings for the 5th time. Each viewing made him more uncomfortable. The way human fighters moved, pulling acceleration that would turn his own people into paste inside their bodies. The nuclear weapons that violated every civilized rule of warfare. The brutal efficiency of Marines storming through Krath ships room by room, fighting hand to hand when necessary. They fight like animals, someone said. No. Counselor Jerex replied quietly. Animals fight on instinct. These humans fight with purpose and strategy. That makes them far more dangerous. The emergency session had been going on for 6 hours. The chamber was divided into 3 clear groups. The fearful wanted the humans quarantined again, or worse. Ambassador Thrall led this faction. We invited wolves into our home because we needed protection from one predator. Now we have 2 predators to fear. The humans must be contained before they decide they want more than just to protect the Vela. They saved millions of lives, Arbiter Celine argued. They came when no one else would. They fought and died for people they had never met. How does that make them the enemy? They used weapons we banned millennia ago, Thrall shot back. Nuclear warheads, kinetic kill weapons. They boarded ships and fought in close combat like savages. This is not civilized warfare. The Krath were committing genocide, Celine said, her voice rising. Should we have asked the humans to defeat them politely? While the Council argued other species were having different reactions, military leaders across the galaxy studied the battle footage obsessively. Human tactics, human weapons, human training. Everything was different from standard galactic doctrine. Some saw opportunity. The hegemony of Tal sent secret communications to Earth, asking about trade agreements and military alliances. If they could gain human favor, they would have the ultimate advantage over their rivals. Others saw only threat. The Zephron Collective began quietly moving their defense fleets closer to human space, just in case, just to be safe, and in Krath territory. Commander Vex knelt before his Emperor with his head bowed. The throne room was silent except for the quiet breathing of the massive Krath ruler. "You lost half our fleet," the Emperor said. His voice was soft, which was more dangerous than shouting. "To 47 ships from a species we had never heard of. They fight unlike anything we have ever faced, my Emperor," Vex said. "Their tactics, their weapons, their very biology gives them advantages we cannot match. Recommend we avoid human space and focus on weaker targets." "Avoid them?" The Emperor stood, his full 3 meters of height towering over Vex. "The Krath Dominion does not avoid anyone. We do not run from challenges. These humans have humiliated us. The entire galaxy saw us retreat. If we do nothing, others will see us as weak." Vex knew what was coming. He had served the Emperor long enough to recognize the tone. "We will deploy the World Render," the Emperor announced. "We will gather every remaining ship in our armada, and we will return to Vela space. This time, we will not just defeat the humans. We will erase them. We will destroy the Vela worlds completely, and any human ship that tries to stop us. Let the galaxy see what happens to those who oppose the Krath." Vex felt cold fear run through him. The World Render was their ultimate weapon, a ship the size of a small moon, capable of cracking planets. It had been used only 3 times in Krath history, and each time the target world was left as nothing but debris. But orders were orders. Vex bowed and left to begin preparations. Back in human space, Admiral Chen was dealing with her own political nightmare. The battle had made Earth famous overnight, but not in the way they had hoped. Her communication console was flooded with messages from the Galactic Council, some congratulatory, most fearful. Dr. Mirren had remained with the human fleet, serving as an unofficial liaison. The small Vela scientist had helped the humans understand galactic culture and politics. Now she sat in Chen's office, looking worried. "They are afraid of you," Mirren said softly. "I have been reading the public forums, the news feeds from across the galaxy. They are calling you saviors and monsters in the same breath." "We saved your people," Chen said, trying to keep the frustration out of her voice. "What more do they want?" "They want to believe you are not a threat to them," Mirren explained. "The galaxy has been at peace for a long time. Real peace. No major wars for over 1,000 years. Conflicts are resolved through negotiation or small, ritualized battles. What you did at Vela Prime, that was total war. That was terrifying." Captain Webb joined them, having taken a shuttle from the Indomitable. "I have been talking to our diplomatic corps. They are getting some disturbing intelligence. Multiple species are considering a preemptive strike against Earth. They want to eliminate the threat before we become too powerful." Chen felt anger surge through her. "We saved the Vela and now they want to attack us? What kind of logic is that?" "Fearful logic," Webb said. "We showed them we can destroy their fleets. We showed them weapons and tactics they cannot defend against. From their perspective, we are now the biggest threat in the galaxy." "This is insane," Chen said. "This is politics," Mirren replied. "And it gets worse. I have contacts in the council. The Krath are not finished. They are gathering a much larger fleet. And they are bringing their planet killer ship." The room fell silent. Chen had read about the Krath World Render in the intelligence files. It was ancient, massive, and had ended civilizations. "When?" Chen asked. "Days, maybe a week," Mirren said. "They are coming back to finish what they started, and this time they will have 400 ships." Webb shook his head. "We cannot win against those numbers, not with the ships we have here. We would need the entire Earth fleet, and even then it would be close." If we call for reinforcements, the Council will see it as humanity amassing an invasion force, Chen said. It will push the fearful species into action against us. So we are trapped, Webb said. If we bring more ships, we look like conquerors. If we do not, the Krath will destroy us and the Vela. Either way, humanity loses. Chen stood and walked to the window of her office. Outside, the Vela Prime orbital station was being repaired. Human engineers worked alongside Vela technicians. She could see children playing in the observation areas, safe because humans had protected them. We do not abandon people who asked for our help, Chen said firmly. I do not care what the political cost is. We stay. We defend the Vela. We show the galaxy that Earth keeps its promises. Admiral, Webb said quietly, we will probably die here. I know, Chen said, but we will die doing the right thing. That counts for something. A communication came in from the Council. Arbiter Celine wanted to speak with them directly. Chen accepted the call. Celine's face appeared on the screen. She looked exhausted. Admiral Chen, I need to warn you. There are factions in the Council moving against you. They fear humanity more than they fear the Krath. I have been trying to stop them, but I am losing support. We are aware, Chen said. We are also aware the Krath are returning with overwhelming force. Yes, Celine said. The Council will not help you. Most species are too afraid of humans now to support you, and too afraid of the Krath to risk fighting alongside you. Then we fight alone, Chen said. Celine hesitated. There is another option. You could leave. Return to Earth. The Vela would understand. You already saved so many lives. Dr. Mirren spoke up. No, we would not understand, but we would not blame you either. You have done more than we had any right to ask. Chen looked at the small Vela scientist, then at Captain Webb, then back at Celine on the screen. She thought about the 43 crew members who had already died. She thought about Earth far away and safe. She thought about the easy choice. Then she thought about those Vela children playing outside, safe because humans had decided to care. We are not leaving, Chen said. Tell the galaxy that humans do not run. We are here to defend the Vela, and we will stand against the Krath no matter how many ships they bring. Even if it means your death? Celine asked. Especially then, Chen said. Because that is what you do when you make a promise. You keep it, no matter the cost. Webb smiled. The crew will not be happy about dying, but they will be proud to die for the right reason. Across the human fleet, the message spread. The Krath were coming back with everything they had. The Council would not help. Most of the galaxy wanted them gone. The smart choice was to run. Not a single human voted to leave. Lieutenant Okonkwo sat in her fighter bay working on her ship. Her hands were steady, but her heart raced. She was young. She wanted to see Earth again. But she also knew what her grandmother used to say. We do not get to choose between hard choices and easy choices. We only get to choose whether to be the kind of person who does the right thing or the easy thing. The galaxy was watching, waiting to see what humans would do. Humanity had one chance to prove they were not monsters. One chance to show that strength without honor was tyranny, but strength with honor could change everything. The Krath were coming, and humanity would be waiting. The Krath Armada emerged from faster-than-light travel like a nightmare made real. 400 warships, battleships, cruisers, destroyers, all arranged in perfect formation around the largest vessel anyone had ever seen. The world render dominated space itself. It was 15 kilometers long, a mountain of metal and weapons that had ended 3 civilizations. Its main cannon could crack a planet's crust. Its shields could absorb the firepower of an entire fleet. Commander Vex stood on the bridge of his flagship, positioned near the world render. This time there would be no mistakes. This time the humans would learn their place. Broadcast on all frequencies, Vex ordered. Let the galaxy hear this. His message went out across every communication channel. To the humans in Vela space and to all species watching, the Krath Dominion does not forgive insults. You defeated one fleet. Now face 400 ships in the world render itself. Surrender immediately and we will grant you quick deaths. Resist and we will destroy not just your fleet but the Vela worlds. And then we will find your home planet Earth and burn it to ash. You have 1 hour to respond. On the UESC Valiant, Admiral Chen listened to the message. Around her, the bridge crew was silent. Everyone understood the math. 43 human ships left after the last battle. Many were damaged. Against 400 fresh Krath warships and a planet killer. Admiral, her tactical officer said quietly, the smart play is to retreat. We can evacuate as many Vela as possible and run. No, Chen said. We make our stand here. She opened the fleet-wide channel. All ships take defensive positions around Vela Prime. Standard formation Omega. We are not leaving. Captain Webb positioned the Indomitable at the front of the formation. His Marines were ready. His weapons were loaded. His crew knew they were probably going to die. But they also knew why they were dying. Then something impossible happened. Sensor alerts started blaring across every human ship. New contacts. Ships emerging from FTL all around the system. Admiral, I am reading multiple vessels, the tactical officer called out. Dozens of them. No, hundreds. They are not Krath. Chen watched her display as ship after ship appeared. They were not military vessels. Many were civilian transports. Cargo haulers, old defense ships that should have been retired decades ago. But they all had one thing in common. They were positioning themselves alongside the human fleet. We are receiving communications, the officer said, from all of them. The first message was from the Thylar Confederation. UESC Valiant, this is Captain Thurn of the Thylar merchant vessel Brightwing. We saw what you did for the Vela. We saw you refuse to run. The Council may be paralyzed by fear, but we are not. We stand with you. More messages came in. From the Delani Collective. From independent traders. From colony defense forces. From species Chen had never heard of. They all said the same thing. We stand with humanity. Dr. Mirren rushed onto the Valiant's bridge, tears streaming down her face. Admiral, our defense forces are launching. Every Vela ship that can fly. We will not let you fight alone. Chen felt something break inside her chest. Not break from pain, but from hope. The galaxy had been afraid, but not all of them. Not everyone. Get me a ship count, Chen ordered. Over 300 vessels, Admiral, came the reply. Most are not warships. Many are barely armed, but they are here. Combined with the human fleet, they now had roughly equal numbers to the Krath, but they still had nothing that could match the world render. Chen opened a channel to all the allied ships. To everyone who came to stand with us today, you did not have to do this. Many of you will die here, but you came anyway because you believe in something bigger than fear. Today we show the galaxy what courage looks like. Today we prove that good people standing together can face any darkness. She switched to a private channel with Captain Webb. Marcus, we need to take out that planet killer. Everything else is secondary. Agreed, Webb said. I have an idea, but you are not going to like it. Tell me anyway. The Indomitable can get close. We ram the world render at full speed with a reactor overload. Should crack that ship open. That is suicide, Chen said. I know, Webb replied calmly, but it saves everyone else. My crew already voted. We are ready. Before Chen could respond, Commander Vex's voice came across all channels again, so the humans found some foolish allies. It does not matter. You will all die together. World render target Vela Prime. Show them what defiance costs. The massive ship's main weapon began charging. Energy readings went off the scale. In 3 minutes, Vela Prime would be cracked open like an egg. All ships attack, Chen ordered. By the Indomitable time! The Allied fleet surged forward. It was beautiful and terrible and completely insane. Civilian ships armed with mining lasers flew alongside human destroyers. Vela defense boats with weapons that could barely dent Krath shields moved in formation with human fighters. Old freighters modified with missile pods launched everything they had. The Krath fleet opened fire. The first wave of Allied ships died in seconds. Civilian vessels with no military shielding exploded. The Vela boats were torn apart. But they kept coming. For every ship destroyed, another moved forward. Lieutenant Okonkwo led her fighter squadron in a desperate attack on Krath gun positions. Her wingman died beside her, but she kept flying. She dodged fire, returned fire, and cleared a path for the Indomitable. On that ship, Captain Webb watched the world render growing larger on his screen. All crew to escape pods. You have 2 minutes. "Sir, we are staying," his first officer said. The bridge crew nodded agreement. "That is not an order, that is a request," Webb said. "Your families need you. And the galaxy needs to see that humans finish what they start," his first officer replied. "We are staying, Captain." Webb felt pride surge through him. "Then let us give them a show they will never forget." The Indomitable accelerated. 8 gravities, 10, 15. The crew was pressed into their seats, but they held on. The ship's armor took hits from Krath weapons, but Webb did not slow down. The World Render's main weapon was almost charged. 30 seconds until it could fire. Admiral Chen watched the Indomitable's trajectory. She knew what it meant. She wanted to order Webb to stop, but she knew he was right. This was the only way. "Captain Webb," she said softly. "It has been an honor." "The honor was mine, Admiral," Webb replied. "Tell Earth we did our best, and tell the galaxy that humans protect their friends." The World Render fired. At the exact same moment, the Indomitable impacted the massive ship's hull at a significant fraction of light speed. The human ship's reactor was already overloading. The impact triggered it. The explosion was visible across the entire star system. The World Render's main weapon beam went wild as the ship broke apart. Instead of hitting Vela Prime, the beam carved through empty space and struck 3 Krath battleships, destroying them instantly. The World Render, the pride of the Krath Dominion, the weapon that had ended civilizations, broke into pieces. Secondary explosions rippled through its length. Within seconds, it was nothing but expanding debris. The bridge crew of the Indomitable died instantly. They never felt pain. They never knew fear. They simply gave everything to save millions of lives. The Allied fleet did not waste their sacrifice. Human ships pressed the attack with renewed fury. The civilian vessels, inspired by the Indomitable's sacrifice, fought with courage that defied their lack of weapons or training. The Vela defense boats rammed Krath ships when their weapons ran out. Commander Vex watched his fleet fall apart around him. The World Render was gone. His ships were dying. The humans and their impossible allies were everywhere, fighting with a determination he could not understand. "All ships retreat!" he finally ordered. "Withdraw to Krath space." But there would be no Krath space to return to. The Dominion had thrown everything into this attack. They had revealed their ultimate weapon and lost it. They had shown the galaxy they could be beaten. As the Krath fled, the Allied fleet did not pursue. They had won, but the cost was terrible. Over 100 Allied ships destroyed. Thousands dead, the Indomitable gone with all hands. Admiral Chen stood on her bridge, exhausted and heartsick. They had won, but she had lost friends. Good people who would never go home. Dr. Mirren approached her quietly. "Admiral, we are receiving messages from across the galaxy." The battle was broadcast on every major network. They saw everything. "What are they saying?" Chen asked tiredly. "Everything changed," Mirren said. They saw the Indomitable's sacrifice. They saw civilian ships fighting alongside humans. They saw the Krath defeated by courage instead of just military power. "The Council is in emergency session. The fearful voices are being shouted down." Chen walked to the observation window. Outside, rescue ships were pulling survivors from damaged vessels. Human medical teams worked alongside alien doctors. She saw a Vela child waving at a human marine from a refugee transport. Arbiter Celine's face appeared on the communication screen. "Admiral Chen, the Galactic Council wishes to speak with you formally. They want to offer Earth full membership. No restrictions. No quarantine. Full participation in galactic civilization." "What changed their minds?" Chen asked. "You did," Celine said simply. "You showed us that Deathworlders are not monsters to be feared. You showed us that strength can be used to protect instead of conquer. You showed us what humanity really means." 3 days later, Admiral Chen stood before the full Galactic Council, not as an outsider, not as a monster, but as an equal. "Earth accepts the Council's invitation," she said. "But we come with conditions. The galaxy will never again stand by and watch genocide. The galaxy will never again let fear prevent it from doing what is right. And the galaxy will remember that the Indomitable and its crew gave everything to protect people they barely knew. That is the standard humanity expects, not just from ourselves but from everyone." The Council agreed unanimously. In the weeks that followed, human ships began taking positions throughout Council space, not as conquerors or occupiers but as protectors. When pirates threatened trade routes, human destroyers responded. When colonies needed protection, human marines were deployed. The Krath Dominion collapsed within months. Without the world render and with their fleet destroyed, they could not hold their conquered territories. Species rose up. Justice was served. And Earth, the death world that the galaxy had feared and rejected, became its unexpected guardian. Captain Marcus Webb and the crew of the UESC Indomitable were honored across the galaxy. Monuments were built. Songs were sung. Children of 100 species learned their names. But the real memorial was simpler. On Vela Prime, in the rebuilt capital city, a small park was created. In the center stood a statue of a human in a military uniform looking up at the stars. At the base, an inscription in 20 languages read simply, "They came when no one else would. They stayed when anyone else would have run. They gave everything to protect strangers. This is what humanity means." Lieutenant Zara Okonkwo, promoted to captain after the battle, stood in that park one day with Admiral Chen. "Do you think we made the right choice?" Zara asked. "So many died." Chen looked at the Vela families playing in the park. Safe, alive, free. "The right choice is rarely the easy choice," she said. "But yes, we made the right choice, and we would do it again." The galaxy had called humanity Deathworlders as a warning. Now they used the term with respect, because Earth's children had proven that being forged in the deadliest crucible did not make them monsters. It made them protectors. It made them heroes, and the galaxy would never forget.